Learn more.
It's 9:03 at the Bay Area's news station KCBS. Mostly sunny skies expected throughout the afternoon today with mild to warm temperatures. Good morning. I'm Melissa Colross.
And I'm Eric Thomas.
Here is what's happening.
In a push to make the city spend billions of dollars on affordable housing, a group of homeless residents and advocates is suing San Francisco to stop sweeps at encampment sites. KCBS reporter Holly Kwan tells us it's a suit that could be replicated in any number of Bay Area cities.
The suit led by the ACLU suggests the city is violating its own policies by clearing away homeless sites without giving residents a sufficient option. It's the same argument made to temporarily stop the Caltrans cleanout of the massive Wood Street encampment in West Oakland that's currently being dismantled. Jennifer Friedenbach is executive director of the Coalition on Homelessness, one of the plaintiffs in the suit.
People losing their mother's ashes, begging for their property not to be taken. You can't do that. And you can't, criminalize people. It's considered cruel and unusual punishment if you have nothing to offer them, nowhere to go. And that's exactly what's happening in San Francisco. Only a small being offered a place to go.
She says they're bringing the lawsuit now after years of amassing a mountain of evidence that paints a picture of human rights violations. The city says it will respond in court. A city attorney spokeswoman telling KCBS the city has been expanding its temporary shelter and permanent housing options. It's estimated point in San Francisco this year, and the city is about 7,000 beds short. Holly Kwan, KCBS.
Part of an East Bay shopping center is expected to reopen this morning after being evacuated during a standoff situation last night. KCBS's Matt Bigler reports from the scene a rape suspect may have escaped a quick change in a clothing store.
This 13-plus hour standoff at the Nordstrom Rack in the Sun Valley Shopping Center came to an end without an arrest. It all started last night after a rape suspect fled from authorities and crashed his vehicle near the shopping center and into the clothing store. Shoppers were evacuated from this business as well as the Safeway next door. Captain Scott Vermillion with Pleasant Hill Police says surveillance video from inside the rack shows the suspect climbing into the
problem for us to search it effectively and safely. There's also a possibility that after he crawled up there, he may have changed clothing. It is a clothing store, and walked out with customers in the initial chaos.
Vermillion says the video also shows the suspect, who has not been identified, shedding some of his own clothing inside. Both businesses to reopen this morning. From the scene in Pleasant Hill, Matt Bigler, KCBS.
Thanks, Matt. Area water officials have sent out the first set of fines to 3 East Bay households for using too much water. The East Bay Municipal Utility District allows customers to use about 1,600 gallons a day over the billing cycle, but the 3 households exceeded that, one of them using almost 3,200 gallons a day. The penalties are about $120 over a 2-month period. Officials say they sent out warnings to more than 2,000 households for going over the limit during their early summer billing period.
Santa Clara County wants the state Supreme Court to rethink an appeal court ruling that allowed a San Jose church to avoid paying nearly $250,000 in contempt fees. Calvary Chapel could end up having to pay at least part of its fines if the state's highest court sides with the county. Pandemic, Santa Clara County was granted an injunction against the church to stop it from holding indoor services where congregants weren't wearing masks, nor were they social distancing. Calvary Chapel ignored that ruling and ended up being found in contempt twice, but an appeals court then overturned the fines levied against the church. The county argues that the appeals court let Calvary off the hook for the fines by interpreting just a single one of its violations about capacity limits to be unconstitutional.
And a reminder, we'll be answering your COVID questions coming up on Ask an Expert. That's at 9:20, and you can send us your questions at ask@kcbsradio.com.
Just ahead on KCBS,
I'm Megan Goldsby on what Oakland's chief of police says is still a major driver behind the spike in gun violence in the city.
Let's get the latest on traffic right now at 9:08. Kim's in your local Honda dealer's traffic center. What's the update on the bridges?
well, it's looking a little bit better on the San Mateo Bridge. I mean, not without slow traffic by any means, but the problem was actually not on the bridge. Getting past Edgewater or a crash here had been blocking the two right lanes, and it looks like it's contained to the shoulder now, so traffic's move a little better, but it was there long enough that the traffic on the bridge is very slow, especially that high high-rise section. We see a little bit of stop and go here, so not perfect, but getting better. Looks like they resolved the issue that was a stall on the Golden Gate Bridge. I still see a backup that's through the Robin Williams Tunnel, though, on the Waldo Grade. Go anymore, but once you get aboard the span, everything loosens up from that point forward into San Francisco. Let's not stop there. Let's look at the Bay Bridge. We are backed up through the MacArthur interchange, still slow at the metering lights. It's been that way all morning because of earlier issues with a motorcycle crash that's long been cleared. Also, the bridge, the backup at the toll plaza is still in place. Chilton Out-of-Body Collision Cam sees it's from Harbor Way to the tolls, but once you're on the span, it's loosening up now. This is in the wake of an earlier stall and then a little fender bender just of late. Northbound 85, let's go back to the South Bay. Northbound 85 at Fremont Avenue. Crash from the second from left lane, but that's why you're backed up into Cupertino from beyond Stevens Creek. And you can follow all this madness on Twitter. We're there at KCBS AM/FM Traffic. Your next update, 9:18 on leader KCBS. Mostly sunny skies expected throughout the afternoon today. Highs today getting into the 60s at the beaches, 70s by the bay, and into the 80s inland. Traffic and weather sponsored this time around by balancepro.org. We've got traffic and weather together on the 8th. And AM 740 KCBS.
Are you worried about the current rental market and looking for affordable rental housing? Balance helps find affordable housing programs in your area. For questions and free rental counseling, visit balancepro.org or call 1-888-777-7526.
At Prime Mail Medical, they understand how frustrating it can be to experience difficulties in your intimate life. Their mission is to provide you the medical care you need for improved performance.
At Primal Medical, we have virtually every medication known to man to help men. We specialize in treatments for ED and low T, and we have a 99% success rate. Most impotence problems can be treated in just one visit.
That's Dr. Robert Rowley from Prime Mail Medical.
We offer a variety of treatments, including high-dose sublingual lozenges, ultrasound-based shockwave therapy, and injectable therapies. We can also treat testosterone issues when needed.
Prime Mail Medical in the East Bay and San Francisco. Get your customized evaluation for just $99, which covers a full year of free visits, including a PSA test, testosterone test, and ultrasound. Call now. 761-4037 or go to primemailmedical.com. That's 415-761-4037.
Thinking of selling your house, but you don't want to deal with repairs, cleaning, realtor photos, and showings? With John Buy's BayAreaHouses.com, you don't have to do any repairs or pay any commissions. Call 510-426-7000 and John will give you a fair cash offer without any inspection, showings, or other headaches. That's 510-426-7000. When you sell to John Buy's BayAreaHouses.com, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. John buys vacant houses, inherited houses, beautiful houses, fixer-uppers in any condition, as is. Buy's BayAreaHouses.com provide you the easiest sell possible and assist you in every step of the way. If you want to sell and have any questions, please call 526-7000. That's 510-426-7000 and get the offer you have been waiting for.
KCBS News Time 9:12.
It has been a deadly weekend in as many days. And as KCBS's Megan Goldsby reports, the chief of police says the majority of the crime can be tied to gang.
A tough week around violence in our city, but group and gang violence continues to be the predominant driver of violence in the city of Oakland.
Armstrong says that's why he's allocating more officers to the streets in areas known as gang turf. As for this week's killings,
the victims and a couple of our homicides we know has some connection to groups and gangs, and we know that it was highly likely that may have been the associated reason for the shooting. Ceasefire strategy is we look at every shooting and homicide to see if there's any group and gang connection.
The program has worked to quell gang killings in the past, and he says they're doubling down on it now. Another problem Oakland is dealing with right now, the chief said, gangs from San Francisco coming to town. That's why they've partnered with the SFPD.
We've apprehended several suspects as a result of that partnership, and that will continue.
Megan Goldsby, KCBS.
Well, challenge of his career, we will get an update in sports in 2 minutes. News Time 9:13, sponsored by Refunds Pro. Business owners